Welcome everybody to the ladies and gentlemen to Circle the Big podcast. This is Devious One Ivan C. Here alongside of my brothers from another mothers. I have Mr. MGC Matthew Steamboat, and also have the one and only CK1 Chris Kennedy. And today we have our honorary guest that is joining us this evening. He's the founding father of the SoCal Uncensored blog board, which will give you the best content all over SoCal. And they were the first ones to start promoting independent wrestling scenes and also mixed martial arts. And I have the founder himself, Mr. Stephen Bryant. How are you, sir?
Hey, yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for joining us. Big fan, a really big fan because of you and Lonnie, you know, how you guys began this website. That's how I actually found out about more independent scenes. That's how I found out about Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. That's how I found out about just so many that I were not aware of. And so I actually want to go ahead and start this off, Mr. Bryant. So how did that come about? So how did the whole SoCal Uncensored begin in 2001? How did it begin?
Yeah, so it's kind of a interesting story. There was another website that dealt with SoCal wrestling. It was called SoCal Wrestling, and they had like wrestlers that were kind of running the site. Samoa Joe was actually one of the people running the site. And there was kind of a controversy at one point with MPW booking wrestlers that wrestled for UPW, and UPW banned their wrestlers from being on those shows. Samoa Joe ran the message board, and he actually basically deleted the message board because of the outrage over, you know, people mad at UPW over this blocking of them wrestling for UPW.
I honestly remember that. That was back when like Horseshoe and Ruckus and
yeah.
Andy Van Dam and everybody were out the old school days. Prototype.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And so, and me and Joe were friends and everything. But me and Lonnie had been talking about kind of starting a site. We had a different idea for it, but after that, we were like, you know, we need a place where it's not going to be controlled by the wrestlers, where you're not going to have, the message board getting deleted because there's something controversial showing up on there. And that's kind of where we started it. We originally we're going to have it a place for like a chat room. Then we decided to throw a message board and eventually started doing news on there as well.
That's awesome. Go ahead. Anybody, Chris, Matt?
Yeah, dude, man, I got so much to talk to you about, man, because I know that we've very likely crossed paths a long time ago. I used to wrestle for Rev Pro back before PWG was a thing, with Ron Rivera running everything. And I actually have an interview with Lonnie and an old referee named Jason McCord.
Right.
It's still up on the website from July 21st, 2001. I was the original El Gallinero in Revolution Pro. And I still, every couple of years, go back and read this interview. Where I mentioned training with like Super Dragon and Excalibur, and one of my first matches was with Samoa Joe, and we always bring up the evolution of those particular stars and where they're at now, and how influential the website was and still is, because this is before Reddit. This is almost before Google. I remember after every match all the boys went to, we would go to the website immediately. We go home, we go to the website. You guys had like reviews of the show, and I couldn't wait to read anything about our company. And I don't want to say shocked, but I was excited to see that it's still up and active, and I commend you for that. I mean, it's literally 20 years. I mean, almost to the day.
Yeah.
What's kept the fire burning? I mean, you run through a couple. I don't recognize some of the names on there. I don't know what happened with Lonnie. I don't know if that was a separation, amicable, or something worse. But he used to come to all of our shows, and he was like my friend on the inside as far as the industry goes. What's kept you going as far as this long career of this just not obscure website, but very niche, very down to earth, I guess you could say?
Yeah. As far as Lonnie goes, no, nothing bad happened between us. He actually started training to wrestle for a little while. And he decided that if he was going to be a wrestler, he shouldn't be working on a website. And that's why he stepped away at that time and just got.
The very reason he started the site was he didn't want workers running the.
Right. And so he stepped away probably a year into the site. So he was only the first year.
Okay.
But I actually saw him back in December. He was in town, and he went to the PWG show in December, and that was the first time I'd seen him probably in 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, still send him emails once in a while. And
does he still train or wrestle, or is he?
no,
Did he end up going? Like, where did he train? Where did he end up going as far as that
he
route?
trained
For
with
him?
Kevin Quinn.
Okay.
But he never actually finished the training, so he didn't. He never had a match or anything like that. But he trained with the Cubanitos or the.
Those Cubanitos were the shit, dude. Those were my Ron Rivera, American Wild Child, brought them in. We were trying to develop a tag division. We were strictly basically Puro Resu back then. And we had like tag team wrestling, but it was mostly just who's here that we can put 4 people in. So you would have like Disco Machine and Mr. Excitement versus Excalibur and Ultra Taro Jr. But it wasn't like a tag division. So he started to bring them in. And that was the first time I had seen real well-traveled workers in our facility. Like, I mean, Super Dragon obviously is international, but at the time, this is 20 years ago, he had just gotten back from Japan. Los Cubanitos were like coming back from, I think, Mexico. And yeah, they are solid workers.
Yeah, and I still remember that time at the Revolution J where Ricky Reyes and had that match with Jimmy or Rising Sun. And
ooh, fuck, man, dude, Jimmy was my boy. God rest his soul, man. He was so fun to hang out with, dude. I miss that guy.
Yeah, I think about him all the time. As I was talking with Super Dragon, probably I think the December show, and it was weird that when I first saw you, I was like, man, that guy looks familiar. And then when you said that you were El Gallinero, or
yeah, it was El Gallinero. That was my hazing gimmick. And then for a brief stint after that, I was very unknown. This isn't my El Bundy 4 touchdowns in a single game moment. But I evolved into cyberspace, which nobody knows about.
I remember cyberspace.
Are you serious, dude?
Yeah, you were in the Revolution, Spirit of the Revolution.
Oh my God. That's so crazy, dude. This is literally, I was 16 years old. Yeah, I think I refed that. And then I had to go in the back and change work and then go back and change back into a ref and come back out. And I think most people knew that because I looked like Little Nate, Charles Robinson, the referee.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, it was like, oh, that's definitely the same guy, the same hair.
Even same like 20 people at every one of those shows. I mean,
yeah, that was
I think
good times, dude.
The first time I met Rising Sun, he without his mask on, I was like, oh yeah, great match. He's like, match? What are you talking about?
It's definitely him.
Yeah.
Like with like Super Dragon and Excalibur, you definitely can't really tell. Like when I saw Super Dragon without a mask on, I'm like, how is that the same guy?
Yeah.
Same with Excalibur. It's like, dude, you guys look like IT guys. I love this. This is crazy. Even though I think Excalibur is an IT guy.
I'm guessing there's like not just double duty, but probably like a lot of triple and quadruple duty that a lot of people got to pull at events like these and stuff like that. So. Yeah.
I mean, like I was a workhorse as far as I was the youngest one in the company. I was literally 16. There was nobody was even close. I mean, me, and then you had like Nat Sinister, who was definitely older than me. Mr. Excitement was older. Disco Machine was older. So coming in as so young, and then not hazing, but definitely getting put through the ringer. I had to build the ring. I had to ref the matches. I had to
young boy.
Young boy. I was a real young boy for sure, man. But I wouldn't have it any other way, man. I ate, drank, and slept that company for the 2 or 3 years I was with them.
I think question that's been on my mind, especially like the parameters of what like the jurisdiction of SoCal Uncensored, hence me putting up this map behind me, just kind of like what, just putting up this map behind me. So what limits to that is like, did you guys like hold events or report it on shows all the way out to Lancaster, San Bernardino, Santa Barbara, San Diego, Barstow, like even Catalina Island? I don't know if even they've had wrestling events there.
What constitutes SoCal, basically?
Yeah. If you look at like a map of the counties in Southern California, there's kind of like a straight line that goes through like the top of Kern County where Bakersfield is.
Yeah.
So really that's where we cut it off at.
Because Knox was in San Bernardino, and they definitely covered Hard Knocks or School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah, and
Vendetta. I think even TJ counted. You guys had some articles about stuff in TJ, which
we'll put up some stuff.
That's SoCal. It's real SoCal.
There's been plenty of San Diego, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
then?
Yeah.
Yeah, I live in San Diego, so that's the easiest
Okay.
for me to get to a show even. But yeah, it pretty much anywhere from that line down. There's not a whole lot that goes on north of LA. Santa Maria has some stuff, and once in a while there might be something in like Bakersfield, but really LA's like the top of where anything ever really happens.
Yeah, just for those watching this that don't live in the Southern California area, that's why
It's pretty big. It's
Yeah.
bigger than most states on the East Coast. Like you can fit at least 2 or 3 original colonies in just SoCal.
Yeah.
and then our population as well. You know, us being
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You know, now that got me thinking. Like I only just thought about that now. Catalina Island.
It's the Catalina Wine Mixer Pro Wrestling event.
I mean, like the golf cart would be a good like hardcore match and everything. You know.
Yeah, it'd be like the Stampede match in AEW.
Yeah, or they could do something on the beach. So.
Yeah.
I've actually thought of that before, and I think getting the ring out there is what would like really.
Yeah. You'd have to take a boat for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
It's like $70 both way, like round trip from Long Beach to Catalina. So
the site's been around, and it is still as active as I've ever seen for 19 to 20 years. Has it been you as head, I guess, contributor or editor, and you hire staff that are assigned certain duties, or do you run as much as the show as you possibly can this whole time?
No. Probably in about 2010, 2011, I'd gotten kind of burnt out on wrestling. And you remember Adair, Shogun?
Adair Cole.
Yeah.
Shogun.
Yeah. He approached me and asked about him and another guy taking over the site. And I said, you know what? I'm not really doing a whole lot with it. There's not a whole lot of news going on the site. If you guys could do something better with it, you know, let's do it. And so about 5 years, him and Jason Cowley, ran the site. And I heard about Jimmy passing away, Rising Sun. And
yeah, my sister was friends with someone who knew him. I had lost touch with those guys, so I had to hear from her. And I still don't know. I mean, we can talk off the air, but I don't know the reason.
Yeah.
I just know that people didn't have any clue at the time.
Yeah.
But we'll address that, privately.
Yeah. So, and that got me, I probably hadn't even visited the site in probably like 6 months, maybe a year at that point. And I'd started watching Lucha Underground a little bit, and I went to the site to comment on the obituary notice. And, I started reading through stuff, and I talked to Jay, and I said, hey, I wouldn't mind writing a few things for the site again. And then like 6 months later, I'm, those guys are burnt out, and I'm back running the site. And so probably like the last 5 years, I've been running it again. But there was a 5-year period there where Adair and Jay were running it.
Right. And was that you were just burned out on the wrestling scene? Was it the content you weren't entertained by, or was it just wrestling in general, regardless of how good it was?
Yeah, I mean, I just had other things going on. I'm married, have kids, just like the normal life stuff. You kind of get out of it for a while. There wasn't a whole lot going on in San Diego, so every show I had to drive to LA for, to get up to PWG or whatever. Right. And so it was just a 2-hour drive each direction every time I wanted to go to an event. And it's kind of hard to cover it if you're not actually there. But now, I have more time. I work from home now, so it's a little bit easier. And I find the wrestling's so much better now than it was 5 years ago. It seems like
5 years ago, I will vouch for that for sure. Yeah,
definitely, 100% agreed.
Yeah, I think I stopped watching I call it the spinner belt era of the John Cena.
Yeah. The Dark Ages, and now is the
was that called the Ruthless Aggressive?
Yeah, the Ruthless Aggressive era. You could say that.
I stepped back, and then I started watching NXT sometime around Kevin Owens having the title, and then I found Lucha Underground, and I was like, oh shit, I'm definitely back for sure. Like I never wanted to go away, but there was just nothing going on for me.
Yeah.
This is the Renaissance.
A little gap. Oh, absolutely. There's more than one royal family.
So It brings me to this question, you know, especially with all the different events that you guys have been to. What's probably like the weirdest location you guys have reported an event on? You know, like probably like an abandoned warehouse full of pet.
No, that's a common one. That is a very that is not
Yeah,
that is-
but without a permit, without a permit.
that is still a common one, bro. That is. I remember some weird ass shit in Long Beach by the harbor. I forget who. It might have been MPW, but yeah, it was definitely janky as fuck.
Well, yeah, there's a I actually put a video of it on our the SoCal Uncensored YouTube. Super Dragon and Messiah had a match, and that was like a huge match for like early 2000s SoCal, because those were the two biggest guys, the Messiah and Super Dragon. And
Dude, I love Messiah. He was right when he. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but yeah, they brought him in. Yeah, that was sick. I remember that.
Yeah, so they wasted this match by having it in a parking lot at night with just cars surrounding the ring with headlights lighting the ring.
I was in Buena Park. I have it right here. I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
you
one
were
of
there, Chris?
the worst.
I think that's the referee is a guy named Donnie. I think he was a big PWG referee after this. Man,
Yeah.
I think I was definitely there for this. Yeah, for sure. Because when they brought Messiah in, I was a huge XPW mark, and obviously I had to hide that as a kid. So when they brought Billy in, I was like, holy shit! Like the Messiah was like my favorite wrestler that wasn't Super Dragon, and here I am reffing or working with my two favorite wrestlers, and I was just like so young that they look down on marks in that crowd.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a worker, obviously you have to be cool. And I was like, this is insane. These are my two favorite wrestlers, and they're training me right now. I'm freaking out.
I think SoCal Val's like Super Dragon's valet in that match or something too. She's
PCW. That's what I see the banner on.
Yeah, PCW. It was the original PCW, not the current one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay. And so, how did the awards came all about? I see. Last year I know you had the SoCal Rookie of the Year, which we had Slice Boogie on the show. But how did that concept came all about, and did you begin that concept, or
the previous site, SoCal Wrestling, they had awards. They did it through just like a poll on their site, just like a fan poll. So it's like whatever wrestler can get the most people to vote for them. And then we kind of just continued it, but we changed it up where we combined the fan poll with having people who go to a lot of shows, have like a separate panel as well. So it's not just a, hey, everyone go vote for me type of thing, where we kind of try to make it a little bit more legit on there.
Oh, okay. I see. And so, like, how you
those were around back in the day, at least. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they go back to 1999 with the SoCal Wrestling, and we took over in 2001.
Oh, okay. I see. Matt, go ahead.
Oh yeah, so I think the other big one was, because I was also going to ask about like the locations for the MMA events, but it's a little bit of a two-parter. How has it been establishing the relationships with MMA events and promotions in Southern California compared to the wrestling ones? And was like the process similar or different, with establishing those relationships with the MMA events and promotions and stuff like that?
Yeah, so Andrew Pacina he's the MMA guy for the site. So he does a great job with that. But yeah, so he's the main guy for MMA. But as far as establishing contacts with them, and it's actually a little bit easier than with the wrestling promotions, because most of the MMA promotions are more professionally run. Not to say that the wrestling aren't, but I mean they actually have budgets where they have PR people, and so a lot of times we're dealing with like a professional PR person. They'll actually have press passes, and so it's a little bit easier dealing with them.
Maybe a publicist.
A lot. What's that?
Maybe a publicist or somebody like that.
They'll reach out to us a lot. Say, hey, we got, like, I think there was a MMA event that was at the Queen Mary a few years ago, and they hit us up and said, hey, can you guys, cover this event? And we had somebody go down there and do photos, and cover it and stuff. So it's easier to deal with them just because they have people who've, you know, gone to college for public relations or something versus, you know, just the promoter dealing with the pro wrestling.
It's a little bit more streamlined.
Yeah. It'll be, I mean, occasionally it's like you're dealing with like the UFC. I mean, they have a whole, you know, department for that. And
they have like in-house press. Basically.
Yeah, there's a website. We have like press logins for it, and you know, you just go to it, and all the information's right there. Press releases, fighter information, and even like the smaller ones like LXF. I mean, they have somebody who just that's their job to do that.
That's awesome. Go ahead, anybody.
I mean, I got censored stuff to talk about. We could talk about the advent of obviously the tag team with the homage name SCU featuring Chris Daniels, Kazarian, and our local own Scorpion Sky Andrews. When I didn't know that team existed prior to AEW. So when I saw them come out with that name, I was like, no fucking way. That is the craziest thing. That is so cool. That's what made me go and check to see if the site was still around. I know it might be just old news to you or even to the website already, but did they ask for that blessing? Did they run it by you guys? Did they just show up one day and said, "Hey, we love you guys. We're taking the name"? Like,
yeah, no, they asked before Scorpio Sky joined their group in Ring of Honor. I was contacted about for permission to use the name. And
is it trademarked or anything like that? Like, it would have to go by you, or was it just respect?
Well, there's a common law trademark on it, so I mean,
okay, because it's been over 10 years, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they don't want to legal issues or anything like that.
Right.
And I had a discussion with them about it. Like, I didn't care, to be honest. I just didn't want. When I first got approached, I didn't really know what the plan was with it, and I just didn't want like it just to be some like, you know, embarrassing thing that the Ring of Honor was planning on doing, and I wasn't quite sure because it was originally Ring of Honor who approached us, and then I talked to Sky about it, and you know, gave our permission to use it, and said you guys could do whatever you want with it. You know, I trust them to do it. I mean, we've known those guys for 20 years, so.
Right. Did the message boards blow up at all when they like? Was it kept secret before like a debut, or did the I guess the marks or the people in the know ahead of time?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really follow Ring of Honor that much to know. Like, nobody knew about the name because I was actually at the movies when that came. So I came out of the movie theater and my phone had just like blown up with messages, people asking if I knew, like Dave Meltzer asking about it, and you know, just like every website I'm getting emails from them asking if we gave permission. And
so basically this conversation we're having right now.
Yeah, basically. And so, yeah, I just said, yeah. So I wrote something out just so I didn't have to like completely like say it over again. I just posted something on Twitter.
Right.
But
okay,
for the most part, we try. I don't really acknowledge it that much or say that much about it because I mean, it's their own thing. It's separate than us. And
yeah,
I don't want to seem like biased towards it or anything. I know wrestling's fake, so it's not.
Hey now,
it's not a thing.
Still real
like,
to me. Damn
we're
it.
rooting for those guys, but yeah. So I mean, we try to. I try to like downplay it as much as possible, but I mean, it's really like an incredible honor that you know they thought to play, you know, homage to the site like that and everything, and you know when they explained it and. So I'm really appreciative of it. I mean, it's what other website could say they have, you know, say they have that. So
yeah, I can't off the top of my head. I can't think of any athletic competition, whether it's pro wrestling, MMA, or you know, like baseball, whatever. There's nothing even close to that I can think of in at least English speaking world. Yeah, so I don't even know where to go from this because there's a lot of old hat topics for sure, but I wanted to talk about a little bit like I haven't talked a lot with the Ref Pro guys. Like I still kind of talk to Ultra Taro every now and then. I sort of talk to Matt Sinister every now and then, but I never did ask like the separation of Rev Pro into PWG and its effect on the SoCal scene. Obviously we we can name 10 megastars that had come through PWG, at least 10 off the top of our heads, who are now either actual world champions headlining WrestleMania. That transition, do you know if that was something that was like a forced transition where they wanted to break out? I know you probably shouldn't speak on whatever, I don't know if it's like not your place to speak, but like, did they just want to do something bigger and then it exploded? Is that kind of what the vibe is with going from the one company to the Pro Wrestling Guerrilla?
Yeah, I think they just wanted to run their own thing, because RevPro and PWG were around for like maybe a year or so at the same time.
Right.
I think RevPro probably closed down like 2004, 2005.
Do you know if it was like amicable, or was it like, fuck this place, we're out?
No, like Super Dragon continued to wrestle there after. I'm sure Talwar did as well. Disco.
I remember when Talwar came in. Top Gun Talwar came in, definitely is
yeah,
no wrestling experience, and then he goes to being the like executive producer of the biggest company in SoCal.
Yeah, and then I think Excalibur was probably the only one that had already had a falling out with American Wild Child by that point, and so. But the rest, they continue to work for RevPro. They just it's coexisted, just completely separate promotions. Right. I think there might have been some bad blood because they never booked like American Wild Child on the PWG shows. But other than that, I don't.
So was there a giant like nuclear bomb explosion of content when PWG came out? Was that like the company everybody had sort of been waiting for in SoCal at the time?
Yeah, I mean. It's kind of weird to think of them then versus now, where they were drawing 150 people for the shows. But I mean, yeah, they were definitely the big thing as soon as they came out.
Right.
Matches usually they bring in people from outside of SoCal, which was still sort of rare at that point. So
yeah, I had dipped out maybe, I don't know how long before PWG had happened. Maybe I don't know when they started, so I'm going to say it was at least a year. Like American Wild Child had moved the Rudo dojo from Santa Fe, or it was like Anaheim to Santa Fe Springs to his actual backyard, and then I just couldn't get there anymore. I couldn't drive, probably couldn't afford lessons because I was like still 17, so I just lost contact with that scene. So you're answering a lot of questions that I just kind of had. So thank you. Obviously, it's not our place to speak on the personal workings of these companies, but filling in those gaps kind of gives me some like closure on what happened right after I left, because I kind of didn't want to leave. I'm not going to sit here and be like it should have been me, but I definitely do miss those days for sure, man. It was some of the best times of my life, and the fact that you remember even someone as shitty as me 20 years later, definitely it's heartfelt for sure.
Hey, but I mean, you paid your dues, even though for that short amount
of time. I was ready to pay so many more dues, man. Like
yeah.
I was definitely ready to do whatever it took to go wherever I could go.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but I mean that El Gallinero gimmick. I mean, it's Scorpio Sky was
I saw that.
El Gallinero after you, and then Matt Jackson was El Gallinero as well. I mean, there
were so many before me as well. I know that it was just a running gag in the lucha scene dating down to Mexico. But I've mentioned this before, where I like to just stay up all night long and look at Wikipedia. And one night I looked up the Young Bucks, and I'm like, oh, I don't really know that much about the Young Bucks, outside of the ring. And I looked it up, and it goes Rancho Cucamonga. I'm like, oh yeah, that's not too bad. Trained by American Wild Child. I'm like, what the absolute fuck? Yeah. They're my age, and I'm like, fuck. That was one of those like, oh man, if I just stuck around a little bit longer, I might have been a Young Buck or like something similar, Yeah. To see this whole SoCal thing come full circle and then go nationwide, I love or worldwide. I love watching from a fan's point of view.
Yeah,
I'd say El Gallinero's probably like the Red Hood and Joker.
No, it's more like the Terry Taylor, literally the Red Rooster.
The Red Rooster.
El Gallinero stands for the cockfighter.
They're still around. If you ever go to Lucha Vavoom, the Crazy Chickens,
yeah,
they're El Gallinero. It just
do they play that?
Boom and Ron had falling out over that.
Song, dude.
Wow.
The theme song was disco beat with clucking, and I had to make it work. I mean, I didn't make it work, but I had to roll with it. I had to do something.
So, Stephen, what is the usual team that's sent out to an event? Is that usually like a photographer, a journalist, and a like some kind of reporter? What's the regular
Like,
team?
whoever can make it that day basically gets to go.
Yeah, pretty much. We don't do a whole lot of like photos. Basically, if I'll take some pictures like on my phone or something like that, just to throw out on Twitter. But yeah, it's usually just whoever gets to go, goes out to the event. For MMA, usually Andrew and Josh Shibata, who does the ring announcing for a few different local promotions. He'll do like MMA coverage for us. You'll see him a lot. Like if you look at our YouTube channel, he's
So
on.
like it's either just like one or two people. It's never been like sent out like a 5-person team out to an event or like a big,
Yeah, we don't really have that many people that ever want to do anything on the website. So yeah, it's usually just 1 or 2 people.
Yeah, I remember Lonnie was a road dog, man. Like he would go out with us down to like Brawley in Calexico. He would just, I think we all would just ride together. He would meet us somewhere because he was from San Diego too, right?
No, he was up LA area.
LA, okay. But he would definitely like just go with us. Like just we'd be me, him, and like Jason McCord would drive down to like Mexico on a Friday and come back on a Saturday. I'm like, this is awesome. Like, so yeah, there was a lot of conviction from everyone who works at SCU, at least back when I was around.
Yeah,
I'm
so
wondering-
the drives. I mean, that's still the main thing, but there's so much. I mean, there's so much good wrestling now. I mean, it's you drive to PWG, and even with it being in like downtown LA, it's not as bad as going to Reseda from San Diego, but.
I live in North Hollywood, so that's like I can see Reseda from my window.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for you, but for for me, it's
a
little bit better drive, but it's yeah. I mean, the wrestling's so much better. I mean, it sucks to drive 2 hours and to go to a bad show.
For those outside of Cali, there's Reseda. Down there is San Diego.
San Diego's like halfway further down than it's way down there.
Yeah.
It's about 200 miles easily, and that's not counting traffic.
It's a bit of a drive, but yeah, it sucks. Like I said, it sucks to go to a bad show, spend 2 hours, but you go to like PWG or something, it's really not that bad. I mean, where else are you going to see wrestling like that unless you fly to Japan or?
Yeah.
I agree.
What was
then later on, it got really tough to get in there because I sold by quick. So
yeah,
PWG grew incredibly, especially like coming from Reseda going to downtown. Yeah,
they were rocking Frankensons for the first
mm-hmm.
I don't know, couple years maybe out in city.
They only had 2 shows there. They like their first show and like their 4th show or something.
Oh, I thought that was like their home base.
No, Rev Pro, but not PWG.
Okay, that's maybe what I'm thinking of because gotcha. So you say you kind of fell out. I don't say out of love, but out of contact with watching wrestling. Did something bring you back? Like, was there a particular event or card, promotion, or wrestler? And what was the last event you actively went to?
The last event that I actively went to was like maybe a month or so ago. It was a Level Up Pro Wrestling. They had an outdoor event here in San Diego.
That's awesome.
I went to that. It was right before Halloween, so maybe 2 months ago.
Cool.
And the what brought me back is I was flipping through the channel and I came across Lucha Underground, and I saw B-Boy and Cholo on there, and I was like, hey, I know these guys.
B-Boy's the shit. I told these guys about B-Boy. They didn't know about B-Boy.
Yeah, so I sent I think I sent B-Boy a text because even before SCU, I knew him from California Championship Wrestling. So I've known B-Boy since probably like 1999, 1998.
Yeah.
And I sent him a text, and he told me, oh, yeah, I'm on this TV show. And that kind of was my reintroduction after not seeing anything for like a few years.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, B-Boy, I wrapped a match between him and Super Dragon. He was the first person I ever seen do something off a wall, like not the ring wall, but like we used to have it in these old garages,
right,
where it used to be like for like, I don't know, machine work or whatever. And he like did that backflip just off the drywall. And I was like, whoa, this is a level of wrestling I didn't know existed. And and then he did like I almost stole one of his moves. He had what was it? It was a hip toss into a neck breaker. I'm like, I want to steal that so bad, but he's right there, and I'm not going to do that. But yeah, B-Boy was definitely like one of the guys we brought in that was outside of Ref Pro when we were starting to bring in outsiders like Messiah, like Samoa Joe, Los Cubanitos, B-Boy. Yeah, real throwback, awesome worker. I don't know why he didn't get any bigger. With all due respect to his work ethic, he should be in AEW or Ring of Honor or, somewhere where there's a camera with a wide fan base.
Yeah, a lot of people, it's just like, if it was 5 years later, they would have, like, I think of Scott Lost.
Yeah, Scott Lost for sure.
Like that. I mean, it's just, if it was 5 years.
Him and Joey Ryan were a team at the same time, and Joey Ryan definitely, positive thinking, it definitely went somewhere for sure. So, it is weird how and who moves up, because they're all great workers. It's just, like you said, the age thing or, other outside issues, I guess, or, circumstances. But there's so many great workers in SoCal from 20 years ago to now.
Definitely. I mean, Scott Law was another one. I mean, I was a fan of his work. I'm just surprised.
Dude, I remember the original Lost Boys before Joey Ryan. I forget the other guy, but that's when I started, man, was when that original Lost Boys lineup was coming through, and everyone was talking about this new tag team, the Lost Boys. I'm like, this is awesome. I love this.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And, throughout the time of going to the shows, you had any funny encounters throughout the shows? Any funny things? Any
good road stories, embarrassing or otherwise?
Yeah, I mean, nothing I want to say. You know what? I'll say one thing. I was up at APW with and they had this a tournament going on there. I got invited up. At the time, APW only allowed like maybe 10 people in their arena to watch a show. But I got invited up. I rode up with B-Boy and Cholo, and I ended up staying in the same room with them. Rising Sun was staying at the same. They had Rising Sun at the same hotel, but he had brought his girlfriend, and Super Dragon was at the hotel too. And somehow he moved into our room. I don't remember what the deal is. I think he was supposed to be with Rising Sun, and because of the girlfriend. So they pranked Rising Sun.
Rising Sun kicked Dragon out of their room.
Yeah, I think that I don't remember exactly why Super Dragon had come into the same room. Was sleeping in the same room as us.
He's not a pushover. Mr. Dragon is not someone you can just bully around. So
I think it was the girlfriend issue, but they put like a trash can full of water up against Rising Sun's door, knocked on the door, he opened it, the water just pours into his room, and he wanted to like prank somebody else. So he tried to prank Tony Kozina, who was in a different room. So he put the water up there, opened the door, the water spills in. Tony Kozina starts pounding on him, just beating him up right there, like
really beating, not fun.
Yeah, he was pissed.
Oh shit!
Oh shit!
He jumped him, started attacking him. B-Boy and Cholo had to break it up. Me and Super Dragon are just sitting there like, holy shit! And like we
take a joke, bro.
Yeah, I was like, I'm media. I'm not getting involved, but
right.
I wish cell phones would have been around back then. I could have.
Dude, they were not. Dude, all my footage is. I have to go to Super Dragon highlight reels to find any version of me just in the ring at all.
Yeah,
really. Yeah, it was all like really shitty cameras and nothing was digital. I know Ron, American Wild Child, was all he's running Rudo's video, which was just a tape collection.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna ask him to go through that shit to find anything.
Disco Machine has it all. If you, they don't have it digitized yet, but he has all the masters.
Okay. Yeah, I have talked to Mike in like obviously 20 years. So that would be just weird to reach out. But yeah, I'll look up like top 20 moves of Super Dragon, and you'll see me like reffing a match against. Like, he's hitting like a Phoenix Splash or the original Cycle Driver. I'm like, that's me. Look, I'm not lying. I really was there. And but yeah, dude, man, if cameras now today, especially just like smartphones that are like HD, were around 20 years ago, dude, the culture would have been so much better.
Way different too.
Yeah.
Oh man, definitely. So right now, like, how do you feel with the current product right now? The state of pro wrestling. How do you feel about AEW? Feel about the whole pretty much every promotion. How do you feel about it so far?
Yeah, who are you watching? Who are you into? What gets you going right now?
Yeah, I mean everything except for like the main WWE stuff has been really good.
Welcome to the show.
AEW's been great. Even like Impact's been good. NXT, Ring of Honor has been good. But yeah,
And that's our boy from Japan. He's really on it. He doesn't miss a damn thing on that island.
Yeah,
So, he keeps us up to date with like, dude, go check out this match, Wrestle Kingdom or whatever. So there's so much content that we all kind of have our time frames with which we can watch stuff, and we rely on him to get us that content.
That's actually the biggest problem. Is there's so much stuff you just can't watch it all.
I love it, and I hate it at the same time.
Yeah,
I had to stop watching. I have to watch a review show for the main roster of WWE because I want to put in now. NWA has Shockwave. Impact is doing something I'm interested in, and I'm never going to miss NXT or AEW. So I'm just like, I just have to find a way to balance too much pro wrestling, which is my favorite sentence of all time. I love that I don't have enough time to watch as much good content as there is.
Yeah, I mean, I just have to pick and choose. Like I always will watch like Shotzi Blackheart on NXT or Jake Atlas.
That's my girl. Yeah.
And then AEW. I mean, AEW is just top to bottom usually pretty good. And I don't get to watch his Impact as much as I'd like, just because I have to pick something to kick off. But I mean, Impact's been great. Honor's been
tying everything together now too.
Yeah,
man. That I am excited. We mentioned last week that this year started so bad for pro wrestling, and none of us expected it, in my opinion, to become the most interesting thing to happen in 20 years. Is this Impact AEW thing, and it's really a way to start the next year, and I'm super excited. No idea what's going to happen. No idea what changes are going to. I don't know if Vince is going to be forced to make changes to compete creatively because he's usually like doesn't give a shit. But I'm excited to see where things move in those companies for sure.
Yeah, definitely, and hopefully that'll. I mean, it's been a bad year for independent wrestling for sure.
Definitely. I didn't even know we had Slice Boogie on. I asked him about Santino. I didn't know the building literally was just gone the moment quarantine hit in March. I felt really bad about asking him about that because I had no idea. I had made friends with Tyler Bateman at my gym literally in March. And he's like, dude, come on down, dude. Like, we're training all the time. And this is literally like maybe a week before quarantine. It's the first one. And I'm just like, fuck, man. Like, so many lives are just like, even if you're just a hobbyist in the business, like, or just doing it to stay in shape, it's just fucked. Like, and not knowing when things are going to open or close. Our friend of the show runs the Wrestling Guy store. He's had issues with trying to figure out when to either get signings and or even just keep the doors open. So worldwide, it's definitely taking a huge hit. And I'm just hoping 2021 just something turns it around and it's allowed to flourish like it's supposed to.
Yeah, there was I mean, I checked last summer, we averaged about 50 independent wrestling events a month in Southern California. And like this summer there was like 4.
Wow.
So
yeah,
and
that's across maybe like 1 or 2 promotions too. It's really not even
Yeah, we were just starting to put together our year-end awards, and there's like 4 promotions that are even eligible.
There's like 3 guys nominated, and they would win by default because there's so few out there.
Yeah, I mean, and then right now, I mean, you already had United just close their doors down again. That's like another bummer there
second time.
But I mean, second time, I believe so. But I mean, we got to respect Marquez's decision. I mean, that's
well. I mean, how much of it is it if it is up to him? Also.
Well, and what's obviously in the current state of California, we don't even know what's going to happen next year, if we're going to reopen or not. It's an unfortunate that all this situation happened now. How Steven said it just cost a lot of independent promotions not to even do anything at all.
Yeah, the thing I'm looking forward to is when it's over, and this applies to every industry, is the renaissance, the explosion of excitement people are going to have when they can go back to live shows, music, movie theaters, pro wrestling. There's going to be the standing room only across all public events. And I can't wait for that when it does happen, when it is safe. It's going to be very exciting, hopefully sooner than later.
Let me ask you a question. I mean, I ask everybody, pretty much all the pro wrestlers, ask them, because they're independent contractors. But I want to get your point of view as well.
Who would you want to wrestle in a dream match? I'm sorry, bro.
Who's your dream match and what venue?
That's our number one question for everybody. But no, I'm sorry, bro. Just I had to do it.
Always ask them. I know that everybody has different opinions about it, but I always ask them about unionization. Like, how do you feel like about the unionization for the pro wrestlers as independent contractors? Should there be a unionization between all of them? I mean, when it comes to obviously the income, the health benefits, all the above. Like when you work to a corporate job. I mean, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, do you see it helping the indie stars, or is it something more reserved for like people that are contracted to companies, I guess you would say?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think like people in WWE should at the very least be under like the Screen Actors Guild.
Yeah, perfect answer.
They have the most restrictive, like AEW wrestlers. They can still do independent shows. They can still sell their own T-shirts. They can do cameos and Twitch. All that stuff. They're not restricted in that. While WWE, I mean, they just shut them down from everything, and they claim they're independent contractors. I mean, that shouldn't be allowed. But yeah, I mean, everyone on TV should be able to be in the Screen Actors Guild, and WWE wrestlers especially should be a part of that at the very least, if not their own union, just because of how restrictive they've made it for those wrestlers. And I know the wrestlers, just by talking to people that are there currently, they don't like what's going on there. And I think it's probably starting to move a little bit more towards maybe Screen Actors Guild or maybe something else.
Yeah.
That's smart, because, I mean, they literally are screen actors. I mean, I don't know what definition they're looking for. There's a stuntman union. These are stuntmen. These are actors. These are athletes. All three of those in their own categories have some kind of legal and health protections. But for some reason, if you're all three of them, that gets disqualified. I don't understand why there haven't been. I mean, Vince is obviously a billionaire, so legal moves are probably financially difficult. But there's got to be something. There's got to be some kind of catalyst to kind of just push it in that direction a lot faster than just rumors or a tweet from Thea Trinidad, who is a brave soul in making that tweet, and I applaud her for doing that. But yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. Like you said, they pull your independent content. I know Xavier Woods had to either change the name or pull down, up, up, down, down. They gave him some ultimatum. Obviously, the same thing that just happened with Thea Trinidad, aka come on,
Selena Vega.
Selena Vega. I was thinking Sofia Vergara. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, if you're not going to treat them like independent, but you're going to keep them on that pay grade. Like, you have to pick one.
Yeah.
You're either helping them or hurting them. And no one, like you mentioned, you probably have closer relationships with anyone on the main roster than anyone we've spoken to would know how unhappy a lot of them seem to be.
Yeah, and I don't think people realize how little, especially like in NXT, like how little some people get paid. I mean, you think these people are making like six figures, and most of them aren't. I mean, it's right now they're not having to travel, but when people are traveling, they have to pay their own hotels.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier a couple of months ago, where their own hotels, their own flights and shit like that. Like, yeah, it's absurd. Like, baseball players don't do that. Everything's put up by the MLB association. It's like, I just don't get it. I think it's one of those things where Vince is so smart and so aggressive that it's one of those, why should I have to if I can not? If I have the choice to not pay you or help you, I'm not going to. And what are you going to do about it? It's literally just, it's foot to throat business, and it worked for him, but it's not humane.
Yeah, well, it took Major League Baseball almost 100 years to, get unionized or do something.
Yeah, and they can strike. I mean, there's never been, as far as I know, in modern pro wrestling, a strike.
Right.
That I can think of. I don't know if there's something that happened a long time ago, but they either can't strike because they need to get paid, or Vince can just say, see you later, have fun somewhere else and get paid less, or not at all. It's it's like I said, it's very aggressive.
And then so far, that's been, the place that's right behind your head, Chris, that other place.
Hey, I love that place. I'm entertained by the content. I don't know much about the business workings yet. I hope everybody that works for my favorite company is happy. I'm optimistic that they're doing the right things business-wise, and they're not going to pull any wool over people's eyes. But until I hear negative from AEW, I'm excited that they're doing things that make the workers happy.
Definitely.
They generally seem happier, the people that are there.
Yeah. And like you said, I like that that non-contract status where people can come and go as they please. We saw Matt Cardona come in. He left. He's working around. They're bringing in NWA titles. They're obviously working with Impact. So there seems to be a lot of freedom and, I guess, a non-stressful business relationship between all factors of what Mr. Khan and Cody Rhodes are doing right now.
Definitely. So throughout the years, reporting all the, in the independent circuit, who was at the time that you kept an eye on and actually now made it big? Like,
It's me. It was definitely me. It's definitely cyberspace.
Not cyberspace. Who was the one that caught your eye while, you went to the show and like, okay, this individual's going to make it, or this tag team was going to make it.
And then they actually did.
And became a fruition.
Yeah, I'd say like the two guys that like, just seeing them the first time, you knew that they were going to be like stars. Samoa Joe and Brody King were probably the two guys. I mean, they just had it like right away.
Yeah.
I mean, there's other guys like T.J. Perkins, Jake Atlas that you could tell were super talented. But I think Brody King and Samoa Joe are definitely the top two guys that you just, the first time you saw them, you knew that they were going to be something.
Yeah.
Joe was a bit of there was a aura surrounding Joe back in the day. He was coming out of what was Cincinnati Reds company?
UIWA.
Yeah, I think that's where he had cut his teeth, I believe. I could be wrong, but that Huntington Beach area, I think that was in Stanton or something. And because the only outlet we had was SCU, so there were just people talking. There were this stigma about this guy Samoa Joe, and then you're just like, this is the next big thing. He had done some matches in UPW with Rick Bassman, and then we heard he was coming to. Oh, we got Samoa Joe to fight, come in Rev Pro. Cool. Who's he gonna wrestle? This fucking guy. I'm like, oh shit. Like, okay. Like I don't think I knew what Samoa Joe looked like at the time. But I was 16, 6 feet, like a $170, and here comes this 6'2", 300-pound big. Samoa Joe used to be a lot bigger than he is now.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna say fat-wise, not muscle-wise. He was a big guy, and I was like, okay, thanks. This is awesome, and nothing bad about the guy at all. Treated me right. He was nice. We only shook hands, went over the ending of the match. That was it. But like, he was definitely one of those guys where I'm like, when he got to TNA at the time, I'm like, that makes sense. When he got to NXT, I was like, that makes sense. It's a little behind schedule. I would like to have seen him bigger sooner, but I definitely agree that Samoa Joe, I think, is one of the guys that always had that it factor.
Yeah. He's a real student of the game too. Like he would watch, a lot of people don't watch like Japan but he knew everything.
Wrestling Noah with his match with Misawa.
Yeah. He's kind of like Chris Hero in just his knowledge of wrestling.
Yes.
And he was always like a super nice guy too. Super nice guy.
Oh, yeah.
It's really cool that you mentioned Brody King, especially we're on the eve of his match with Roosh for the Ring of Honor title coming up at Final Battle. So we've got your fingers crossed for that if you're watching Brody King.
Yeah, local boy right there for sure.
Definitely.
I love seeing that.
He needs that big break because I've been a fan of his work as well. Seeing him in PWG and seeing him at Bar Wrestling too. So it's great. The guy's a phenomenal worker. He moves like a cruiserweight, in my opinion. Shit.
Yeah, and he's built like The Rock. Like he's 6'5", almost 300 pounds. It's insane.
Yeah. So okay,
full heavy metal thing going on. So.
Okay, so you have the announcement, I guess, for the awards coming up. So when is that announcement going to be revealed, and by what date?
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably start because we kind of split up the polls just so there's not like 5 polls going on at one time. Probably have the promotion one come out first, and probably started this week. Don't know for sure. I still got to, review just to make sure that we're not leaving anyone out, because in the past, we've accidentally left like, it's not somebody that was going to win it, but just a promotion that should have been on the list, and you got angry people about it. So double check. But it'll probably start coming out within this week, and then through the rest of the month.
Oh man, that's awesome, man! Especially for the SoCal Pro Wrestler of the Year. I know there's Danny Limelight who's looking for it, and also Ray Rosas. They're both looking for that award.
I say let them have a match to figure it out. You ever think about doing something like that? Like a SoCal Uncensored event?
I don't know if you remember it. It kind of used to be the thing with the rookies, where like they'd have like the rookie and the runner-up have a match. And
I don't think I remember that. Like,
yeah,
obviously I've never been in the conversation for any award. I think I got one match of the night from you guys ever, and that's because I tag teamed with Rising Sun, or I beat Rising Sun in a tag match. But like, I definitely would have been carried through that for sure. I promise.
Yeah. I think when the Rev Pro, they had Shogun Adair versus TJ Perkins.
Oh shit! I didn't. Yeah, that's awesome.
TJ no-showed, and they threw Joey Ryan in there, who was like, I guess, finished 3rd that year, and Joey won the match and then claimed he was the Rookie of the Year. And I think that was kind of what started it all off. And it seemed like every year it happened for a while. And in the last few years, I think like Douglas James and Thunder Rosa like never wrestled, and it kind of ended there.
That's fine.
Man, I'm gonna say right now, I mean, honestly, if it wasn't for you, to be straight honest, that I began this podcast because of you. Like, because I admire the fact that you really promote SoCal so much, and
this area,
and that's what I've been wanting to do like for years myself. And so when I started this podcast, you're one of my influence and admiration for it, because I want to do the same thing. I mean, you do it by review online, while I'm doing it here through Zoom. I'm doing it through here, just helping distribute as much independent wrestlers to promoters, to put them out there worldwide, nationwide. And I want to thank you personally for giving me that influence by just reading your reviews, just seeing the message blog, the message board, which I know is not up right now, but before I just want to thank you for that, because that's why I'm going to continue to keep doing it. And
man, I remember running home after my matches, just looking for anything, this was my playground. This was what we had, and it was the only source for the thing that we all loved. I would run to the website, read the reviews of the entire event, look for pictures, look for just any content regarding. I mean, there's only like 3 promotions back when I was doing it. It was us, MPW was brand new, and then like a bunch of lucha companies. And just to see there's now, when their things are active, a dozen wrestling companies in SoCal, and you guys are still pumping it out. I'm incredibly proud and excited to have been a part of that.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's hasn't been easy, but keeping up on a lot of it, just because sometimes people don't want to send information in or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's always. I was a fan of SoCal wrestling and wanted to help spread the word about it back then. And I'm surprised just as much as anyone else that 20 years later still doing it. So
I think pandemic aside, as strong as ever for sure, guys. I see it's constantly updated, and there's so much going on right now that you guys basically virtually it's endless content to cover, which is great for the site as long as you got people there to cover it.
Yeah, I mean, this year there hasn't been as much stuff as years past, for sure. I mean, there's days that go by right now where there's just basically nothing to put up on the site, and I don't want to just put up content for content's sake on there. But yeah, I mean, the last few years, I think we had like 500-600 articles up on the site last year and the year before. So
yeah, definitely. So we can have our viewers and audience to, if you want to let them know, where can they follow you, where can they actually search for you. You want to go ahead and let them know this.
Yeah, SoCalUncensored.com. On all social media, it's just SoCal Uncensored. But yeah, if you're interested in SoCal wrestling at all, just check us out.
I gotta get this out of my system. SCU!
You.
Love that. I love it, man. This was fun. I was very excited when Ivan had told me he had grabbed somebody. We didn't know who it was going to be. So to get the man behind the company or the website, this was fun. I love this. Thank you so much for joining us on this.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, feel free. I mean, if you see me at a show or anything, hit me up. I'd love to talk wrestling. So
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
we love contributing. Like, obviously, you and Ivan can talk if there's anything we can do to help support the site with content. You guys can figure that out off air, but we would love to just do what we can to help support the cause for sure.
Exactly, and that's definitely. I mean, we report as much as we can, as much as you do. We do it, to the same on this podcast. So once again, I really appreciate you, Mr. Bryant, for joining us. I know everyone else too. Thank you so much for tuning in, and hopefully we'll see you guys next week, and we will see more. So hopefully soon, 2021. This global pandemic bullshit's over. We can start finally going to independent promotions to go see SoCal wrestling, because that's what we need here in SoCal. So
Yeah.
definitely. So thank you very much once again, guys.
I want to train. Like, fuck off. Like, I got the bug again. Like, after I interviewed Ray Rosas and found out that he's training down the street at MPW, I'm like, I need to get between them ropes again. Just, if anything, just for the fun and the fitness. That's all I care about. But yeah, man, I'm excited as well.
That's right. Well, thank you very much, guys, for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.
thank you.